All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. It was part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application Website Development Program, and in particular, the AWD 1111 class, which is ASP.NET, it is .NET Framework with Web Databases for the fall 2019 semester. I'm creating a series of video presentations based on the book used for that class. That book is shown on screen, is Pro ASP.NET MVC 5 and A-Press text from or written by Mr. Adam Freeman. I am to the middle part of page 662 in Chapter 23 of 27. And the author says here, in addition to forms, unobtrusive AJAX can be used to create elements that will be followed asynchronously. The mechanism for this is similar to the way that forms work. So if we look on our get people and we go down after the begin form div ends, all right, which is right here. And I'm really thinking, there we go. We're adding another div in here, as is shown on the top of page 663. The idea behind that div, you see there's a for each loop, okay? So the author says he's added a for each loop to call the ajax.actionLink helper for each of the values defined by the role enumeration, creating a set of enabled anchor link elements. So in other words, now, rather than even using the drop-down, which we still can use, but now we have an admin link to show us all admin, a user to show us all users, and a guest to show us only guests. Now I'm not clearing my browser, as the author has said in here, because I can't get this to run anyway. All right, top of page 664. Ensuring graceful degradation for links. I faced the same problem with the AJAX enabled links as I did with the forms. When there is no JavaScript support for the browser, clicking one of the links will just display the fragment. I can address this using the ajaxoptions.url property. So again, we want to change so that that for each loop that we have I guess right here, okay, we make that change. Now, I believe I'm kind of div heavy here. I don't really need both of these. And I can now move this over. Okay. The author says, this is why I created an AJAX option object for each of the links rather than using the one we created in the Razor code block for the form element. Independent AJAX options allow us to specify a different value for the URL property for each link and support graceful degradation for non-JavaScript browsers. All right. Next, bottom of page 664 and going on to the bottom of 666, working with AJAX callbacks. The AJAX option class defines a set of properties that specify JavaScript functions that will be available at various points in the AJAX lifecycle. Those are shown right here. Each of these callback functions correlates to an AJAX event. So in other words, with a callback, typically what you want is once an action is completed, you want to call a certain routine, is what they're talking about. in table 23.4, all right, the author has listed the jQuery events for people who have used jQuery before. All right, you can go out and take a look online and get more information about those. All right. In the next listing, which takes up all of the rest of page 665 and half of page 666, okay, says you can see how we've developed the script element to define some basic JavaScript functions that will report on progress. So in other words, when you're in certain parts of the Ajax lifecycle, it will let you know. Let's go ahead and grab this entire thing. Okay. Again, this is our getpeople.cs HTML file, which is right here. Let's just highlight all of it, remove that, and paste in the new stuff. It's not going to be well formatted, but ideally it's more complete than what I had in there earlier. All right, I mean, I can pretty this up. I don't really think that's going to pay. All right, do a little bit here, but not too much. So again, as we make our way through the Ajax lifecycle, we'll get messages that were an on-begin callback, on-success callback, on-failure callback, on-complete callback. All right? And it may not sound like that much, but it is at least showing us where we are, what we're doing, etc. So it's giving us a little bit, all right, of help here to explain pretty much what's going on. So the author mentions here on page 666, he says we have defined 4 functions, one for each of the callbacks. For this example, we have kept things simple and simply display a message to the user in each of the functions. When they change, clicking one of the links will display the sequence of alerts that report on the progress of the Ajax request, such as the picture shown in figure 23.8. Displaying dialog boxes to the user for each callback isn't probably the most useful thing to do, but it does demonstrate the sequence in which they are called. All right? Now, starting on the top of page 667, and I believe going on for just about the rest of the chapter, all right, they're going to start talking about working with JSON. Since that is a new topic, even though I'm only at 8.5 minutes here, all right, I want to go on, but there's one thing I wanted to see because I think I'm missing a couple pages here in my handout. I am missing that page. So I'm going to send it out to the printer in the room that I'm in, and the reason I'm doing that is just so that I have that last page available to me. All right, so I will be back then to start talking about JSON on page 667 in just a couple minutes.